Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I am Ken Walls. I'm your host, and I say this every time I come on that I'm excited about the guests that I have on, but I'm telling you today I'm really, really excited to welcome my friend. He's been a client of mine for a couple of years and probably one of the hardest sales I ever made. But I'd like to welcome Mr. John Hamlin to the show. John, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Dude, I am so excited. And the reason I'm excited is, this show, I created this show to help people have a breakthrough in life because we all hit those walls in life. We get stuck. We can't get unstuck. We get scared, all of that stuff. And I know you've been through a few things in life that presented itself to be a challenge. And so I want people to understand that you can go from nothing to where you are, and it's completely possible. So, I want people to get to know you, man. So let's start with where you were born and raised.
I was born in Pontiac, Illinois. And then after about 3 or 4 years old, my mom and dad divorced. So I was back and forth between Illinois and Portland, Oregon, where my mom relocated.
Okay.
So I did a lot of traveling back and forth. So I'd say evenly raised between Portland, Oregon, and a little town called Cedar Point, Illinois.
Nice.
A great little town in the Midwest of 300 people.
300.
300.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Little community.
you were back and forth in between Oregon and Illinois.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Quite a bit.
What did was that do you feel like that had any kind of a bearing on what you ended up doing as an adult?
Well, I think, a lot of people talk about there's a good life or a bad life. And there's just life that's behind you. It is your life.
Right.
And so everything, I think, has a bearing. You can't go through a day without having something happen that does something in your life. So, yes, a good and bad. The back and forthness probably made me a little more unstable, but I got to pick up some values in Oregon and that lifestyle, which was totally different than my lifestyle in Illinois. And I definitely got to pick up some amazing values in Illinois as well. I mean, there's a lot to be said for a small town and the value of that, and then there's also the street smarts I learned while I was in Oregon.
Right.
In Oregon, I was kind of a street kid.
Oh, were you?
So it's two totally different dynamics.
Did you say it was Portland, Oregon?
Portland.
So that's a pretty good sized city compared to 300 people in Illinois.
Entirely different dynamic, man.
Yeah, and Portland's gorgeous. It's a beautiful. Isn't it called the City of Roses?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I still go to Portland 4 times a year.
Yeah.
I get a cabin up on the Cascade Range and I hike, and that's really my place to go to get disconnected and reconnected, if you know what I mean.
I do. I know exactly what you mean. I've told you in the past I want to go with you on one of those trips. But
You'd love it.
It's beautiful out there. So where was your primary, where'd you go to school then?
Well, I went to school both in Portland and in Cedar Point.
Oh, okay.
In eighth grade, you don't really want me to go through all of the details, but in eighth grade in Cedar Point, kind of the decision was made that I should leave school. And so I dropped out at eighth grade. And then the only time I went back to school was, I think, a sophomore year. It's kind of vague. When they said, what are we going to do with him? We should be putting him back in school. At that time, I was involved in a lot of the court systems and foster, and just a lot of, life wasn't that great.
Right.
So they put me back into school for one semester of a sophomore year, which, I totally was not prepared for.
Oh, wow.
That didn't last very long.
Right.
So I ran away from home again then, and went, that age. And how old are you when you're a sophomore? Do you know?
What, 16? 15, 16
Yeah.
maybe?
I ran away and went back out to Oregon.
Wow. No kidding. Wow.
Which is a pretty good track for a 16-year-old.
Yeah, yeah. So life was. I mean, and again, I know it's you don't define it as a hard life or an easy life, but life was life, and it certainly wasn't what most would classify as an easy life.
Well, Kenny Chesney has a song, and it says, the laughs, the smiles, the trials, the tears. It's hard to hate what got you here. And, if you look at it, it's every little thing that happened to you in your life, and I believe this happens for a reason, and two, made you what you are today. And, there's a bigger purpose, I think, in play.
Yeah.
A much bigger purpose. There's got to be. When you know my past. I mean, you might act like you're surprised in front of your listeners, but you know my story. And
I know your story. I don't know all of it, but I know a lot of it, and it's shocking.
So, I've come to believe that, there is just something much bigger in play here.
Yeah.
For me to even be alive.
I hear you, man. I feel the same way because we have very similar stories, very similar. So, at some point, though, I'm going to let you tell the story. So at some point, you became an entrepreneur.
Well, let me walk it back to how I first started my job and so on.
Okay, yeah.
When I was in Oregon, again, not in school, conditions weren't that great, and I had a group of friends, and we were in trouble a lot, and I was getting in trouble a lot, and in and out of the juvenile system. And there was a guy that lived in our trailer court. He had the nicest trailer, okay, and he was a car salesman, and he always had I think at that time I was maybe, 11 years old. He had the nicest car because I gave him a demo, a pocket full of money, dating good-looking girls, and to a 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, sign me up on that's what I want. So all I wanted to do is I just wanted to be a car salesman since the age of preteen.
Wow.
It shocks most people. All you ever wanted to do was a car salesman? Yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And so I became 18. I became a car salesman, and felt miserably at it. But that's how I got into the car business. Realized that all the information that had been given to me about how to be successful and why I would be successful in the car business is because I'm a BS artist, and I've got I can sell ketchup to a woman in white or snow to an Eskimo or whatever. So I had all, and from being in sales, that's bad data. That's not correct.
That's right.
So I felt miserably because that's the data I had to go on. That's what everybody told me my strength was.
Right.
So it wasn't until I started to learn how to sell that it became fun and became lucrative. And so fast forward, I meet a gentleman named Pat O'Reilly. He owns a dealership. I'm selling for him. We devised a marketing program for his dealership. And then fast forward again, worked really well. And he said, hey, do you think we could take this and sell it to other car dealers? And that's how I began the marketing company initially.
Wow.
So, yeah. And then, things went good. Things went really good. All of a sudden, the guy that wasn't making a whole lot of money at all was making a lot of money. And then, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to tell the raw truth.
Tell it.
Okay, I got involved in drugs and got heavily involved in drugs.
Yeah.
And so, I ended up like a lot of people do. I ended up homeless. I ended up breaking into churches to sleep.
Wow.
It was not pretty. It was not pretty at all.
How old, like, let's establish kind of a timeline. So you were in your early 20s or late teens getting into car sales. Sounds like you did extremely well at car sales, and I know you pretty well, so I'm sure you were number one.
I didn't do well at first. It wasn't until I started to learn how to sell.
Right.
There's a difference. I mean, do you know the definition of sales?
No, I don't know your definition.
I'm not trying to gotcha question.
Yeah.
I should have done that differently. Because this is amazing. The definition of sales is moving somebody into a course of action or the acceptance of something. Now, follow me on this.
Okay.
What if I put the word unethically in front of that? Unethically moving somebody into a course of action or the acceptance of something would be my definition of con. So one word changes the whole dynamic.
Yes.
One is ethical and one is not ethical.
Right.
So when, people put the unethical in front of it, you're a con man. And if you think that's what you got to do to succeed, you try it, you fail. Because quite honestly, the guys in the car business, the guys in any business that are cheating people, conning people, they're not going to succeed. They're not going to succeed for an extended period of time.
Right. Right.
So, so I got successful in sales by realizing I didn't know what the heck I was doing.
Right.
In 1988 is when we started the marketing company, and that's when I started to make six figures, which I'd never seen anything like that.
Right.
And that's when I also started to get involved in drugs, and I carried that through to probably my late 30s, 40s, and then they got really worse, and that's when I'll tell you what, I'll just surmise it with this: it's over when people that haven't showered in 5 days are saying you need to leave. If that doesn't tell you that you need to change something, some people have a bottom, and then some people find their bottom and they dig a basement.
Right. Oh my gosh. So you had dirty homeless people telling you.
It was horrible, man. It was horrible. I look back at it. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for everything that happened. I am. I'm sincerely grateful.
I know you are.
But boy, you look back at it, you go, good Lord.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad, and you wonder, because so many of my friends, seriously, are dead.
Yeah.
They didn't make it out, and so many of them are in jail.
Yeah.
And then they're doing long terms. It's not like they're in jail for the weekend.
Yeah.
And the fact that I made it out of there, I think is grace. I really do. I mean, why me? When somebody said, "Why not you?" But but I was fortunate to get out of it. So that happened. Moved past that, and I got back into the marketing business. God sent me an angel, a guy named Richard Zimmerman, who took me under his wing. I worked in his feed mill. I threw feed bags and went out and talked to farmers, and I did that. Start my company up again. I wanted to, and he was cool with helping me get started.
So you was it the same company that you just kind of revamped it?
It really was, because it never. One of the things that was very fortunate is there wasn't a whole lot of clients that I really needed to go back to and say, man, you know what? They were there right when the fall. So I had to make amends to probably 3 different clients where it literally was a financial amends. Yeah. And, I was scared to death to go up to them because I thought they hated my guts. And it was funny. They knew what was going on, Kenny. They knew. Yeah. And the best response I got was, John, I knew you'd pay me back if you lived. And I'm like, He goes, oh, yeah. Everybody pretty much knew. Like, well, why are you doing business with me then?
Right.
Well, because you were good. Even high as a kite, they said you were good. So
right.
I never quite understood that. But anyway, so moved back into business. And I've still got the 2 first clients that I had back in 1988. Green Automotive Group was my first client, Green Family Stores, and the O'Brien Automotive Group was my second client.
Wow.
Still have them to this day.
So wow, that's incredible, man. And so like just so we can make sure everybody understands where the gauge is here. You were broke, homeless. I'm assuming you were broke. I mean,
let me. Do you want me to just go ahead? Because I was spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and in every way else bankrupt. In every way you can think. I actually never filed bankruptcy, but I'm talking bankruptcy as in bankrupt in my spirit, bankrupt in broke. I didn't have a driver's license. I mean, it was there.
Wow.
It was off period.
Wow. So that's rock bottom. I mean, I'm a recovered alcoholic. I'm not shy about telling people by the grace of God, I'm coming up on 16 years sober, and it blows my mind, man. It blows my mind. But I get that. I totally get that. And some people probably don't, but I totally understand what it's like to be like, and you're scared because you don't.
Yeah. I always tell people, I say I'm allergic to alcohol, and they look at me funny, go, yeah, I break out in handcuffs. You go, oh, you're one of them.
Yeah, you're one of them. That's right. So you got your life together. You restarted the marketing company, and then what started happening at that point for you?
It just grew and grew and grew and grew to a point. I was having a blast. It's fun. Success is a blast.
Yes.
And then the next probably I'd say the next big change came for me in '04. I had a client call me, and he's a general manager of a car dealership, and he was a little bit concerned. I think he had made some. He told me he says I made some bad decisions that didn't work out, and I'm a little concerned that the owner's about ready to cut me loose, and he was just very nervous about spending any money on marketing. And I looked at what he had and what he did and what he hasn't done, and I just with a lot of confidence said, man, I really think I can help you. And he's like, okay, I'm counting on you. And I mean, that really put some pressure on me because he was counting on me. And after we did our marketing program for him, he called me up. He's like, oh man, that rocked. And for the first time ever, I noticed, I went, yes. And I also noticed that I never one time did I ever go, yes, when I got a check. And a lot of people would disagree with this, but it was that point that I realized that I wasn't working for money. That it was helping other people, being of service. It was then that I realized that. And I even voiced that to my COO and said, I'm going to kind of change my focus. My focus is going to be of service, of, not so much CEO, but, just be of service.
Right.
And, I got to be honest with you, I never made more money in my life since the day I quit working for money. Now, a lot of people would disagree with that. But if you try to make everybody around you successful, if that's your goal, everybody in your office, everybody that does business with you, everybody you come in contact with, if your goal is to help everybody become successful, your success is a foregone conclusion. And the cool thing is you don't focus on you focus on other people. That's easier.
It's way easier.
Yeah, because you're just out. Being of service is so easy.
Yes.
If I get to sit back and beat the snot out of myself or whatever, rather than being of service, getting out of self and helping another human being.
Yep.
It's easy. It's rewarding. And I always say the money started to pile up behind me. I said that a few times when I talked about it.
Yeah.
And then I caught myself saying behind me. And I went, wait a minute. Why? Because I'm not focused on it. I was focused on other things. I was no longer focused on building a pile of money. Make sense?
I don't know if you realize how much of an impact you had on me. And I've told this story many times on Facebook Live and admitted that I was, I flew into the wrong city. I drove all night, 4.5 hours to get to where you're located in Florida. And then I walk into your office to meet with you for the first time ever. 30 minutes freaking late. I'm like, dude, did you know that there's a Daytona Beach address for your anyway?
Right, there is.
Yeah.
It's a Chevy dealership.
It's a car dealership.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know he's in the car business, but for the love of God, he's not in this dealership, is he? But so I think, and one of the things that I learned is I've met a lot of people in my life, man, but you're one of the classiest people, and you're caring about other people. It just, you radiate it, like it comes out of you. So I love that about you, man. And it's those experiences that you've had in life that create that. I truly believe that it's what creates it. So you've all you have to do is scroll through your Facebook page and see that you've done incredibly well since those days. What, I guess from your perspective, what is the number one thing that you feel, and maybe you've already stated it, but what is the number one thing that you've done in your life and in your business, your career, that's catapulted you so far into the realms of success?
Well, number one would be, you're right, what I shared with you is, I think the biggest thing was, learning to be of service, learning to help other people. There's an old saying, you help somebody get to the top. You can't help somebody get to the top without getting to the top yourself. And so that would be number one. But then number two would be the continuous improvement, really learning and perfecting how to sell. Yeah. Okay. Selling isn't conning. Selling is, like I said, moving somebody into a course of action with the acceptance of something.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And that you can get good at that. And it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. Especially when you're doing like, I really want to help this person. And you know as well as I do, I can want to help a client or a potential client as much as I want. If they're not believing that I'm there to help them, right?
Yeah.
That's when you hit resistance. So learning how to sell was the second biggest thing, when it comes to when you micro it down.
Yeah.
And that, if I was to go inside that, the most important thing in selling, as far as I'm concerned, is staying in agreement. If you think about it this way, if you're serious when you're making a presentation, if you're serious when you're selling somebody, you shouldn't just be thinking about what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
You should check in a lot. And you'll notice I'm doing it with you because it's second nature to me.
Right.
I do it all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, you did it right there. I'm checking in continuously because I want agreement. I got to stay in agreement. I believe that a lot of, people talk about closing. Oh, you need to close the deal. Closers, coffees for closers. If you never allow yourself to fall out of agreement with the customer through the process, is the close not a foregone conclusion? It'd have to be, right?
Yes.
I further would say that when people, and I just had this conversation with my national sales manager, if your salespeople need closing, what's a closer really do? He goes in, he goes back, he tries to find out where you as a salesperson fell out of agreement, put the customer back in agreement, and then close the deal.
Right.
If you never fall out of agreement, if you don't allow that to happen, the close is a foregone conclusion, and the way you keep yourself from falling out of agreement is checking in.
Yes.
Say this makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Are you with me? All those things are just checking in. It's not a monologue. It's dialogue.
Right.
You hear Grant say it all the time. Grant Cardone, you hear him say it all the time. What's it? Would you agree? Would you agree? Would you agree? Right? He's checking in to make sure that we're still on the same page.
Yeah. I agree with you. So one of the things though that I've seen and I've been fortunate and honestly, I feel incredibly blessed to be able to call you a client. Like we built your website for you. And it was,
Nice plug.
Huh?
Great plug.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm leading up to something. I've already bragged about building John Hamlin's website like a million times. Most people know it.
You know me, I'm going to fire a shot if I see an opening, even the smallest opening, I'm going to have fun with you, Kenny.
Well, hey, look, the first iteration of the website you hated. And I flew back down there and we met and you're like, dude, I want this to be the freaking the Mona Lisa. I want people to go and so we redid the whole thing and again, I'm here's one thing that I've noticed about you though. And I again, the reason I bring that up is I've been blessed and fortunate to be in your presence for hours and hours and hours watching how you operate your business, watching you do sales calls, watching how you interact with employees and customers. And I think the biggest thing for you, and this is an outsider looking in, mm-hmm. the way you service your clients is unbelievable. Like literally every single one of your clients gets white glove treatment. You don't see and I know you have some really big name clients, but you treat everybody the same, and that's like top-notch service.
Yeah, absolutely. And you said it. You said everything that I would say. You do treat everybody the same. One of the things that I always tell associates when they come, new associates, don't pretend to care. Care.
Right.
It's rewarding. If you're pretending to care, then you're not really, I said this to a client the other day. What's the difference between somebody saying, this is John Hamlin, he's one of our vendors, as opposed to this is John Hamlin, he handles our marketing, he's amazing at it. The difference between that is a relationship. One is where a relationship exists, and the other one where a relationship doesn't exist.
Right.
And I submit to you, and I say this with the people that I work with all the time. When I say don't pretend to care, because a lot of people just pretend to care. Oh, no, we really care about your business. Oh, we really want a long-term relationship. Actually care. Actually present long-term. Show them how your plan actually has legs.
Yeah.
Present for something beyond next week.
Right.
And what you're going to find out is, you're going to make amazing friends. They grow into relationships.
Yeah.
and you enjoy them. And then all of a sudden you find yourself more than ever willing to bend over backwards and go the extra mile, which just cultivates more.
Yes.
Because now it's like, you're not letting down somebody you don't care about or whatever the case may be. And I constantly say this to my associates. Now all of a sudden, man, I don't want to let him down. This guy's a friend of mine. Well, all of them are friends of yours if you built a relationship. And it's sincere, from the heart relationship.
Right.
Care about them.
Yeah.
You'll find out they're great people.
Yeah.
Car business has some of the greatest people I've ever met. My best friends are in the car business.
Right. Right.
So that's a key point too. Because they can see right through, somebody that's just trying to go for a sale.
Yeah.
As opposed to somebody that really cares about what they're doing. One of the things I say a lot, I say, if we always agree, one of us is unnecessary. And I don't want
You said that to me.
And I don't want to become unnecessary.
I remember that. You said that to me.
Yeah. I said to a dealer the other day, I said, he showed me exactly what he wanted to do, and it was the same amount of money. And I said to him, and I looked at what I was proposing and what I wanted him to do. Okay.
Yeah.
The money wasn't any different on either object. But I kept talking. I said, you're going to have to make a decision here. I'm either stupid and don't know how to shut up and close the deal, or I care. I'll let you decide. And he responded just like you. He started laughing because I'm not stupid. He knows it. So why am I still talking?
Right.
Really.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Well, it's actually very true.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to do that. And I'll tell you what, most people, especially people that are running businesses,
yeah,
they really are tired of yes men. They're tired of somebody just shutting up and closing the deal and telling them, oh, no, you're right. No, Kenny, you're right. No, you're right. Let's ink that. You're right. I stay in agreement, but, I ask for permission to say, when I say if we always agree one of us is unnecessary, I'm asking for permission. Can I, or do you want a yes man? No, I don't want a yes man.
Right.
Thanks. Good.
Good, because we're going to push the envelope, right? So the, I know that you've met a ridiculous amount of people in your life. The people that you've met that are stuck, they're stuck financially, emotionally, spiritually, maybe just everything, right? What do you think the biggest thing, and in your opinion, this is just about your opinion, in your opinion, what is it that keeps people stuck? What's the number one thing if you were to say, well, I think the biggest thing is this? What is that?
Fear. I mean, fear or laziness. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just lazy, okay? And a lot of people that, have tremendous amounts of talent, but are, just completely wrapped up in fear. They dip their toe in the pool rather than jump in. They don't look at, wait a minute, they've lived 20, 30 years on this planet. Nothing's killed them so far. Why don't I take a few risks? That is the one thing. And I heard this the other day and I liked it. Then when you do hit a level of success, you no longer have fear, you have stress. Stress is nothing. Somebody who's successful is fear.
Right.
It's all it is. It's our way of making it sound better. And when that was told to me, I thought, that makes huge sense. That makes huge sense.
Yeah. Right. Right.
It's just all I did was clean up the word fear. But
right.
Yeah, fear without a doubt. And a good friend of mine, Joey, used to always tell me, he goes, fear is 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide, and paper thin. And you can walk right through it.
Right.
And I know you know that.
I do. And I'm telling you, I write about it a lot on my Facebook posts, and about fear, and it stops so many blessings in life, and it's ridiculous. It's the opposite of faith. We've heard all the right. things, right? So if a guy, gal, whoever came to you, not looking for a handout, but they came to you and they said, man, I'm stuck. I'm my electric's getting shut off tomorrow. My car was repoed yesterday. My wife's leaving me. I'm, losing my house. I'm getting foreclosed on. what are you going to say to that guy to help him? What to get that guy to move beyond where he is, or gal, to move from that place? What's the first thing you're going to say?
Stop. I mean, honestly, I know that. Stop. What are you doing? Stop.
Right.
What is it? There's more questions to be asked there.
Sure.
Because let's face it, I've been homeless. Now we can turn on the TV, and I know there are people that are homeless because of they're downtrodden and bad things happen. But when I was homeless, you know what I noticed? Most of the people I was homeless with, we all had a heck of a lot more to do with it than society.
Yeah.
Now, there is some mental illness out there, okay?
Sure.
And there are people that are homeless that choose to be homeless. I mean, they literally got it down they got it down. It's like a job.
Yeah.
But most of us was because of drug abuse, laziness, whatever. And
Right.
so, what would somebody say to me about, everything I'm doing, I'm homeless, and boy, look how bad my life is. Well, why don't you stop doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Try something different. So that'd be that's really, seriously, what the first thing I'd say is stop.
Right. What would you tell him to do though? Like what's the most? And again, I realize there's a lot of questions you have to ask, but I'll tell you. Here's where I'm coming from. Friend of mine, very very successful financial planner here in Columbus, Ohio. Multi-millionaire, and one day I'm sitting in his office and he goes, how are things going? I go, dude, it's bad. Oh, I can't pay my bills and blah blah blah, all that whiny bullshit. And he goes, stop. He goes, listen. He did say stop. Listen, there is a guy in Columbus, Ohio, making $1 million a year, driving around picking up people's dog shit out of their yard. These are all excuses. And I'll never forget that moment, man, because I was like, oh my God, I don't want to pick up dog crap. So that means if somebody can do that, I can do anything, right? So I think people get stuck there, man. And I've been there. I've been in that place. And I know you have as well. You don't become homeless by living courageously.
Right. And, you also have to be realistic about, depending on where that person is. Are you just behind on your bills, or are you homeless? That's a huge difference. Yeah. But a good friend of mine, Mike Pearl, always says this: do the next right thing, and the next right thing's liable to happen to you. And really, it's most likely to happen to you.
Right.
And so that's the first piece of advice. I said, okay, you just stop. Okay, what do I do next? The next right thing. Right. What is it that's first and most important to you? Well, if you're homeless, it's shelter.
Yeah.
It's eating. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're behind on your bills, okay, it's another. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to generate income. I love it when people say, well, the reason I went broke is I had lack of capital. I was undercapitalized. No, the reason you went broke is you failed to generate enough revenue to sustain the business you'd started.
Right.
Because it really does come down to that.
Yep.
I've been broke, even when I started going back up, as I'd bite off a bigger chunk, and all of a sudden, wow, and look at the checkbook and it'd be empty.
Right.
And people say, what did you do? I went to work.
Right.
What else am I going to do? Right.
Right.
I cleared everything else out of the way and said, I need revenue.
Yeah.
So it's, I believe this to a certain extent. Either people know what it takes, and if they don't know what it takes, they certainly know that there's all kinds of data out there that they can find out some fast and really furious and awesome rules to things that you can do to become successful. So given that, if we do know what it takes to be successful, or it's readily available, okay, then it becomes what? Willingness.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it takes. We all know what it takes,
right,
for the most part. So when you find out, if you don't know what it takes and you find out what it takes, then you got to look at that and you go, okay, what are you really willing to do?
Right.
And I think that's where another roadblock comes in with a lot of people. It's part of my life. Things that I'm not willing to do certain things the way I used to be willing to do things.
Right.
I can't, you're not going to get me to cover a 4-state area behind the windshield of a car anymore. I just won't.
Right.
I know that being in front of people and all of that is very important and successful, but I realized I wasn't willing to do that, so I had to make an adjustment.
Right. Right.
You know?
But I think the biggest difference is your level of humility, and so many people look at the word humility as a bad thing, and I think that humility is all about what are you willing to do to get out of yourself and help other people. And I think that if you lost everything and you had to, you would get behind the windshield and drive 10 states if you had to. So, and that's the difference. People reach that level of like, yeah, but I used to be this, and now it's like.
Great point. Great point. Let me caveat that to my point to fit your point. I'm in a position to where I don't have to cave to that unwillingness.
Right.
You're absolutely right. If things, took a turn, yes, I would be, then all of a sudden you're forced to become willing. I wasn't willing to quit drugs until it got so painful that I became willing,
Right.
So you're absolutely right. Provided the right circumstances. I mean, I had to figure out another way to get around and that wasn't windshield time. I want to be home.
Right.
People think I love to travel. I don't.
Right.
I built a home that I love. That's where I love to be.
Dude, it's a beautiful home too. Like, it's beautiful.
The home is. Everybody talks about the home. I love the property.
That's what I mean.
I love the horses. Yeah. I love the grass. My favorite thing is cutting grass.
I know. I love that, man.
People are like, you got to be kidding me. You doing your own yard work? I said, yes. And there's a big do not disturb sign on my life when I'm doing yard work, and everybody knows it.
I love it, man. So my wife is like, I'm telling you, if we ever came down there, she would not leave. You'd have to call security. She's a horse. She loves horses, and so with I think that with the level of success you've achieved, there are people, including myself, in life that are like, man, how's that even real? How do I ever get there? I mean, do you think it's possible for anybody to get to that level?
It's got to be. I mean, and I think there's a lot in play there, things that we haven't touched on, like, this country. We do live in an amazing country where when a 8th grade dropout, homeless crackhead can turn around and do what's happening in my life, God and country, and I mean that,
Yes.
It definitely is a God in my life.
Yeah.
And also this is the country where you have that kind of opportunity.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
yeah, absolutely you did. And again, all you have to do, somebody has to do, and most people on this stream know who you are for the most part, or have seen you. I mean, you're friends with Grant. You're doing. If you scroll through your Facebook page, it's obvious you're friends with a lot of people and in high places. And I think that people need to realize that anything is possible, anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's right.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't look in the mirror and not say that, because I when I'm giving thanks and I'm in my gratitude state, every morning, the biggest thing that comes out is I don't even know how I kind of look at it sometimes. I go, how did I get here? How did I get here spiritually? How did I get here mentally? How did I get here financially? How did this all happen? Because it really did just one foot in front of the other, and I kind of lost touch with what am I doing? Just was doing it.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it really almost feels like all of a sudden,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't, because it wasn't when I was living life the other way, as it's not a short walk in those woods. It's not a short walk out.
Right. No, it's
And
not.
it's just as hard to get out as it is and time as it is to get in.
Yeah.
But, I look at it and I go, yeah, absolutely. Anybody, if I can turn it around, anybody can.
Yeah.
That's a fact. I mean, I would challenge anybody to say, well, I can't because of this, or I can't because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about what, because I keep saying I'm not in the car business, but like everybody I'm connected to is, so I guess that kind of means I'm in the car business some
yeah.
way. Yeah. So I have a lot of car dealers that I'm friends with and that follow me and et cetera. So let's talk a little bit about what you do, because I know you do more than just the car business. Like, what's your company do?
Well, Hamlin and Associates, we have two different companies, and we're starting a third. We have Hamlin Associates and have a company called Agency Alliance.
Okay.
And we started out as an automotive direct marketing company. Then we built a software company, and we have a software product now that is, just off the charts, helping dealers to maintain long-term success. We really, there's a lot of people out there that, want to skin a cat as opposed to shear a sheep. Do you know what I mean by that? You'll skin a cat once. You can shear a sheep for a lifetime. And to the car dealers out there, that means I'm going to take care of you. I want a long-term deal. So we've designed our product, probably unlike anybody else in our industry, to where it's set up for long-term relationships. I mean, the average life expectancy of a automotive direct mail marketing company in the car business, it's probably 6 months that they keep a relationship. It's operated more like locusts. They go down, they swarm, they scorch the earth, and then they blow.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've still got clients from 1988. I still have Todd Green, the original client, my first client.
Wow.
To this day. And that's, you don't do that without building a long-term relationship. So we do marketing, we do database analytics, we help them conquest business, we help them grow their companies. Another great thing to live by, because it's proven to me to be true. If I help you grow your company, you will help me grow mine. So again, that's almost the service mentality.
Yeah.
How can I help this person grow their company? They'll automatically help me grow mine. Word of mouth.
Yeah. Wow. So, so you found a niche that you developed software for, and I've seen the presentation. I've had people say, so what's John Hamlin do? And I go, well, he has software that walks on water.
Thank you.
I don't know. So just if you want to explain a little bit about what it does, because I know it's and there's no way you could do it all in 1 hour, but
it's just being very surgical. Anybody that's in your audience that's gotten a letter from a car dealer, it usually says something to the effect of, we're coming in, we're having a big tent sale, and we're giving away 5 gold coins, and you can pet puppies while you're here, and don't forget to stop by the dancing bear cage, and that's okay. And I get it. It works, and I'm not badgering it, but something I learned early on, that which is not immediate revenue generating is branding. I'm either going to get you to come in, and you're going to come in and you're going to purchase, right? Yeah. Or you're going to be left with a thought. And I don't want that thought to be your clown. So, you know what I'm saying? So we don't do that. When you get, what we've done is our software has become so good that we can actually talk to each customer individually about where they are in their buying cycle and not insult them.
Right.
Talk to them intelligently. What's important to them? And it's easy to figure out.
Right.
So that's what we do. If I was to do a direct mail campaign for a car dealer and do 20,000, 30,000 letters, each one of them would be different.
Wow.
Because everybody's in a different spot.
Yeah.
And that allows the dealer to also understand and care a little bit more, because now he understands exactly where this customer is and how he can really provide them with excellent service and really take care of them. They love that.
Yeah.
Contrary to what a lot of people say about the car business, I'm telling you, they're amazing businessmen. Right? They're an amazing group of people that can withstand any storm. They fight the good fight every day, and they really do get the idea of, look, we need to take care of customers.
Yep.
They do.
Yeah.
And so we just really help them take it to that level, to where, you're not insulting your customer, you're not clowning, you're branding yourself as a clown. You're not, you're actually out there making a good message to your customer.
That's incredible, man.
We're going to take the same thing to other industries. As you saw the new building we built.
Yeah.
We're moving into a 30,000 square foot new building, and we're taking it to other industries like the political industry and so on, where you look at what's out there, you look what people are doing, and you're going, man, I can still improve upon that.
Wow. So you're taking, it's all data. It's all data driven stuff that you're doing. Like
and tracking.
and
You
tracking.
got to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And tracking with integrity. Not tracking something to make yourself look good.
Right.
Tracking so you get a real glimpse, so you and your client can actually look at something and say, wow, that didn't work. What did we need to tweak on this?
Right.
Don't be afraid of failure. One of the things when I talk to a client initially, I tell them that. I say, look, here's where we did a campaign for a client. They spent $23,000 with us, and they sold 2 cars.
Right.
And a horrible, horrible, horrible failure. They're shocked that we're showing it to them. I mean, how ridiculous is it? Every car dealer in the country has had a bad event, has had our full-page ads, radio, whatever, direct mail that didn't work for them.
Yeah.
Why does everybody that's selling it act like theirs has never failed when we all know that's not true? If you can open up and be honest about that, then you can look at what doesn't work, have honest discussions with your client, and actually critique it so that you can make it successful.
Right.
In the absence of integrity and you just want to make everything look good, well, the client ain't buying it anyway. They're not believing you anyway.
And that's what again, I look for. Success leaves clues. We've all heard that one, right? And so one of the things that I love about you and it look, Hamlin and Associates is John Hamlin. I mean, let's just get real. So so everything you're doing spills over into your company and that it's all disseminated down from you. And so if one of the things about you is your transparency, you may say, dude, yeah, we did this thing over here and it just didn't work. And you're real about it.
Right.
We failed.
And you're right. You say Hamlin, such as John Hamlin. I'm the visionary.
Yeah.
I'm the gatekeeper to the integrity of the company.
Right.
At the end of the day, I mean, that's probably one thing that is my biggest and most important responsibility.
Yes.
To make sure that we do what we say we're going to do and so on. But yeah, it's important. It's important that everybody that's there understands that. Yeah. But I got to tell you, being the visionary, trust me, I can't write code. I'm a software company and I'm basically computer illiterate. Okay, and it's funny when clients figure that out. Then they start having a blast when they start messing with me. And I'm like, okay, now you're just messing with me. You figured it out that I go about this far, and then it just shuts off. My knowledge on it just shuts off. So
that's funny.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so funny. I own a software company, and I'm computer illiterate.
Oh yeah, I've got an amazing team of people that get the integrity of the company, that get the understanding of we don't settle. We don't do things the wrong way.
Right.
We won't lie.
Right.
I mean, seriously. And then when I say that, I say that to the dealer. If you're going to ask me to lie to your customers, call another company.
Right.
If you want me to put in there that, things that just aren't true, I'm not going to. We don't even have a need for asterisks. Think about that. You know what I'm talking about? The disclaimer at the bottom?
Oh, right.
We don't need them.
Wow.
I know a guy that's in the direct mail business, and he told me, he said, if we're not in front of the Attorney General once a quarter, we're not pushing hard enough. I've been in business since 1988. What? Not one time have I been in front of the Attorney General.
For what? Like being sued or
well, just out not lying.
Oh.
Putting on there, come on, let's go back to Ed McMahon. You have definitely won $1 million.
Yeah, right.
I think that was the first piece of that was the original piece of horrible junk mail. Okay?
Right.
There's
right.
people doing stuff like that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And that's not. And again, you don't reach your levels. And I know that you and Grant Cardone are super tight. You don't reach his level, your level. You don't get there by being full of crap.
Yeah, I was just wondering, did you actually just get bleeped? Do you have that function?
No.
Because I saw it like all of a sudden stop, but your mouth will make a motion.
I stopped myself. So hey, I've had Hank Norman on the show. I think he's something. But I think that again it all boils down to your intentions and your integrity behind those intentions and what you're delivering. And again, I want people to understand that, John Hamlin, how long ago was it that you were homeless?
18, 19 years ago.
So just a handful of years ago, you were breaking into churches to have a place to sleep, I think is what you said. And like, look at you now, man.
I've lost track. It might be 20. You know,
Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun, and you know, since the change and the rebuild, I'll tell you what. That's the other thing. It's a blast.
Yeah.
I love this. I don't roll out of bed. I spring out of bed. I enjoy what I do so much. And that's another big part of it.
That's awesome, man. So do you think people need to enjoy what they're doing to be incredibly successful?
Well, it certainly would make life a lot easier, wouldn't it?
I think so.
A lot more fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but there's a few things I've learned about that. And I hope I'm not going off topic here, but if you're not happy, and if you're not happy before you buy a Lamborghini,
yeah,
I assure you. Okay, this is not my opinion. This is my fact. This is my experience. If you're not happy before you buy a Lamborghini, you will not be happy after you buy one.
Right.
If you're not happy before you buy a private jet, you won't be happy after you buy one.
That's right.
You know, so there is that disconnect of people see the success and so on. Oh, that must be what makes you happy. No, it's being happy in what you're doing to be successful.
Yep.
It really is. It's that trip. It's that road. It's the journey is a blast. I don't want to arrive. I'd be scared to death to arrive.
Yeah.
That's why I'm building a new building and taking the company. I mean, we're going to probably hire 75 to 100 employees here in the next year.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. And you already have a bunch.
There's a golf facility in that big building.
It's a huge building. I've had the honor of having you give me the tour. I want to see it now after the fact, so now I got to make another trip down. But
it turned out it's beautiful. And we got, being able to design your own building also allowed us to design our culture around it. So, I mean, literally the way we designed the building, I can write policy till I'm blue in the face.
Right.
Culture trumps policy. And so we actually designed the building to fit our culture of transparency. I mean, there's no hidden agenda when you walk into Hamlin Associates. There's no, it does. When you walk in, it speaks volume to the actual culture that we exist in.
That's awesome, man.
Okay.
Well, dude, I can tell you, sorry, Mr. Hamlin. I just called you dude.
What are you calling? Shut up, dude.
But I can tell you that from my experience, you're one of the classiest people I've ever known in my life, and I'm honored to call you a friend. I really mean that. So I want we're almost at the end of the hour here. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that, because again, one day I spent literally, I think it was about 9 hours with you, and I left there numb. Like, you're so freaking, and you're humble about it, but dude, you're so smart, and you have these nuggets that are insane. So is there anything that you would like to share with my audience before we cut loose? Is there any parting words of wisdom or advice you would give people that may be stuck?
Well, we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
The other thing that's a big part of my life and I think contributes, and it contributes to success, and I can prove it, and that is philanthropy, giving it back. When you've been rewarded, when you've been blessed, give back, and it just keeps coming back. I mean, you want to. Can I give you a real quick example?
Yeah.
I'm involved in two major charities that are very, very dear to my heart. One of them is Camp Boggy Creek for Children in Eustis, Florida.
Yeah.
And the other one is we have the Hamlin Associates Make-A-Wish Ball in Orlando, which was the #1 charity gala event last year, raised $2.5 million for Make-A-Wish.
Wow.
But I want you to imagine walking out in a camp, okay, for children, for sick children, okay? They are truly innocent. I could die tomorrow if I could get cancer because I smoked for a long time. Yeah. I had a hand in that. Kid being born with leukemia did not have a hand in that. Being born with AIDS did not have a hand in that. And so you're walking out, and this happened. You're walking out, this little redheaded girl looks around as she walks out to camp, and she looks around, reaches up, she pulls her wig off, throws it on the ground, and runs out and goes and plays with the other kids. You know why? Because it's leukemia week. None of the kids have hair.
Wow.
Now tell me how upset you are that you don't have a signal on your cell phone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Really, it does. You can this type of working with others can bring you so much peace. Can really put things in perspective for you.
Yeah.
That little girl can have a positive attitude with the dragon she's slaying, and I'm getting upset because I can't get a signal on my cell phone. Come on, John, get real.
Right.
So there's that aspect of it as well.
Wow. Give back.
Absolutely.
And if you guys don't know John is, dude, you're a huge giver in everything that you do. So, man, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, man, for taking the time to come on and do this. You're an amazing dude. And how can everybody follow you, by the way? Where do they follow you?
I just use Hamlin Associates. I'm embarrassed to say that I'm not on all the social medias, and I need to be, but Hamlin Associates, and I'm on Facebook as well.
Right.
And I don't block anything on my Facebook. I don't believe. I think you can click on it, and it's like you're automatically a friend. You can see everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very, very transparent.
You are. John, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on. I really do.
Thanks for having me.
And I know that everybody on here appreciates it as well. So thank you to everybody who's been on and shared this out and liked it and loved it. And we even got a few angry faces. That's weird. What's Grant say? You got to love your haters too. So,
yeah.
But anyway, thank you all. Appreciate all of you. Have an awesome day, and we will see you tomorrow. John, thanks so much.
You bet, man.
All right. See you guys. So, hey, that was my the replay with my good buddy John Hamlin. If you're not following him on Facebook, make sure you go follow him immediately. That's a guy who was homeless. He said it in the interview. He was homeless 20 years ago, 18 years ago, 20 years ago, and now has a private jet, drives a Rolls Royce, and has everything else. And as you can tell, has the biggest heart probably in all of Florida, if not one of the biggest in the U.S. So make sure that you're following John, and seriously, like, the guy is absolutely phenomenal. So I had that replay because I was traveling a couple of weeks ago and was gone for 8 days and did not get a bunch of people booked, but my schedule's starting to fill back up. But I do have I'm telling you, I have some people coming up that are massive, big time, well-known celebrities that are going to be on the show here in the next couple of weeks. Tomorrow I have Mr. Jeffrey Gitomer. Mr. Gitomer, who is the author of The Little Red Book of Selling. It's the #1 best-selling sales book on planet Earth ever. Mr. Gitomer will be on tomorrow. We have some really cool stuff we're going to be talking about that he has coming out. So I want to make sure that you guys know that. I also want to go ahead and play the video for Dr. Christy Morgan for her Candle Wishes Foundation that she's involved in. I want to make sure you guys understand all that. So I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast with Dr. Christy Morgan's Candle Wishes video, and then we will see you guys tomorrow right here at 11 a.m. on Breakthrough Walls. Have an awesome day, and here we go. Dr. Morgan.
I'm gonna cry.
That's okay.
Yeah. My name is Dr. Christy Morgan, and I am the Arizona Director for Candle Wishes in Phoenix, Arizona.
My name is Jenny Williams. I'm the founder and executive director of the Candle Wishes Foundation. I just really felt this burden come over me for these kids.
Children mean a lot. You never want a child to grow up feeling like they're not loved.
God put this on my heart to want to give these children happy birthdays.
This foundation just touched my heart, so I knew that this was something that I needed to do.
Okay, y'all, I'm not gonna ugly cry. This is terrible.
There was a time in our life where we struggled. There was a time in our life where we lived paycheck to paycheck. One time when we first moved down to Phoenix, a friend of ours, even at Christmas time, paid for my son to have a picture. paid to have a picture of our son sitting on Santa's lap, and I couldn't afford it because we had just moved across the country. And so that's always stuck with me. If you would love to sponsor a child, if you would like to throw a birthday party, if you would like to just volunteer,
We need your help. Reach out to us so that we can connect and make our community a better place.